Tech Room, your boy Don K, back in here solo dolo again today. We back. We on countdown. It's almost January 8th. You guys know what time it is. We almost a year reacting. We counting it down. Today we got BTS's most artistic videos, the top 3. Obviously, we all know Spring Day will probably be number 1, but I don't have the qualifications or right now to even make a video about Spring Day. We already seen a million of them, like from the Italian Army and other people. But these are like my reactions to those reactions. And Spring Day is so deep, I don't even really want to go down that rabbit hole. It's so deep. But today, we're gonna do Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Save Me, and Black Swan. Those are my top 3 videos of my reactions and the channel's reactions. Those were our 3 favorite as far as the artistic sides of it. Those videos felt like musical ballet. It felt like we were a part of something bigger than music. It felt like we were on stage in Broadway. We were at the opera. We were doing it musically, but it really wasn't musically. It was more theatrical. And that's how deep those songs hit for us, and that's how deep those music videos and lyrics hit for us. So we're gonna get right into that today. So we're gonna go right now and jump right into it. Okay, and number 1 on the list, Black Swan, possibly the most artistic song ever created by BTS, musically and video-wise. Black Swan is one of the most philosophically heavy and artistically vulnerable songs BTS has ever released. At its core, the song is about the fear of losing passion, specifically the terror artists feel when the thing they once loved no longer moves them. The title represents a quote attributed to choreographer Martha Graham, who described an artist's worst nightmare as the moment they no longer feel excitement toward their craft, when art becomes empty routine. For BTS, Black Swan is the nightmare made audible. Rather than talking about fame, success, or external pressure, the song looks inward. It asks a haunting question: what happens when music no longer makes my heart beat? The fear is hypothetical. BTS wrote Black Swan at a time when they were already global stars, touring endlessly and breaking records and carrying expectations of millions. The song acknowledges that success does not protect artists from burnout. In fact, it can accelerate it. The lyrics repeatedly reference silence, drowning, and death, not in a literal sense, but symbolically. The death of inspiration, the suffocation of creativity, and the slow fading of joy. Black Swan is BTS admitting is something rarely spoken out loud in the idol industry. Even when you're winning, you can still be losing yourself. The songwriting in Black Swan is intentionally bleak and introspective. Lines describing falling in the darkness, being unable to hear music anymore, and losing emotional connection to sound. The music once gave BTS life becomes something distant and unreachable. There's an overwhelming sense of grief for a version of themselves that they're afraid of becoming. What makes the lyrics powerful is their honesty. BTS doesn't romanticize suffering here. They don't turn burnout into a motivation porn. Instead, they sit with the discomfort. They admit it. Fear of creative emptiness, fear of becoming numb, fear of performing without feeling. This makes Black Swan the most artistically self-aware songs in modern pop history, especially within an industry that demands constant positivity and productivity. The dual nature of this song is hip-hop and classical art. Musically, Black Swan is built on contrast. The instrumental blends trap beats with classical string arrangements, creating tension between modern success and traditional artistry. The beat is restrained, almost hollow, leaving space for reflection instead of hype. I can say this: when you listen to this song, an example to dumb it down a little bit, this is a song artistically you'll love, but you can ride around to it with your boys at night. You can play it in the hip hop clubs. You can listen to it at the bars. It's universal because of not just the sounds, but the actual theme of the song. This contrast mirrors the song's theme. Hip-hop represents BTS's roots and modern global fame. Classical music represents discipline, artistry, and emotional depth. The track doesn't explode, it lingers, it floats, it sinks. Even the rhythm feels like it's dragging the listener downward. A deliberate choice that reinforces the emotional weight of the lyrics. Before the official music video, BTS released Black Swan, the art film, featuring contemporary dancer MN Dance Company. This decision alone was revolutionary. Instead of centering themselves, BTS allowed dance to tell the story, reinforcing the idea that art transcends ego. The dancers' movements portray struggle, surrender, obsession, and collapse. Key symbolism in this film: dancers fighting gravity, the struggle to stay inspired, sudden freezes and collapses, emotional paralysis, moments of explosive motion, fleeting passion that disappears quickly. The empty theater setting emphasizes isolation, art performed without an audience, echoing the fear that even if people are watching, they might not truly feel it anymore. This film reframed BTS not as idols, but as artists, curating a multidisciplinary experience. The official Black Swan music video is visually haunting and deeply symbolic. Set inside a grand empty theater, the video represents BTS's performers trapped within their own art. The stage is both sanctuary and prison. They have very key visual themes for this video: shadows and reflections. Members are constantly surrounded by shadows, sometimes moving independently, symbolizing the darker side of artistry that follows success. The masks and covered faces represent times members appeared or partially obscured, representing emotional suppression and the loss of authentic expression. The fallen angel, Angel Montip, Jimin's choreography is central to the video. His movements resemble to a fallen angel, elegant yet wounded. His solo dance sections embody the surrender and obsession with imperfection. The Black Swan itself symbolizes rarity, beauty, and tragedy, something graceful yet ominous. In classical ballet, the Black Swan represents seduction and destruction, perfectly aligning with the song's theme. The choreography for Black Swan is not about synchronization or flash. It's interpretive, emotional, and raw. Movements are sharp yet restrained, often collapsing inward like bodies folding under an invisible weight. Unlike BTS high-energy routines, this choreography prioritizes expression over spectacle. The key elements are sudden stillness, emotional numbness, sharp contractions, internal pain, flowing extensions, and longing for freedom. This is dance therapy, movement expressing what words can never. Commercial performance and cultural impact. It charted on Billboard 100, appeared on Billboard Global Charts, strong streaming performance across the majors, Spotify, Apple, and YouTube, widely praised by critics for artistic ambition. However, Black Swan was never designed to be radio friendly. Its impact was cultural, not just commercial. Music critics and scholars frequently cite it as one of BTS's most mature works, a rare example in pop music, a turning point where BTS fully embraced artistry over accessibility. Black Swan marked a shift in BTS's identity. After this song, it became clear that BTS was no longer just navigating fame. They were interrogating it. The group acknowledged that the success comes with psychological costs and that loving art doesn't mean being immune to exhaustion. This honesty deepened the bond between BTS and their audience. Fans didn't just admire them, they understood them. Black Swan also influenced BTS' approach to future products, leaning more into introspection, symbolism, and conceptual cohesion. Today, Black Swan stands as one of BTS' most respected works, not because it was the loudest, but because it was the bravest. It doesn't chase joy, it doesn't fake hope, it doesn't offer easy answers. Instead, it asks, what does it cost to keep loving what you do? And that question resonates far beyond music ever could. Final thoughts is Black Swan is not just a song, it's a confession, a warning, a mediation on passion and loss. It proves that BTS is willing to expose vulnerability at the peak of success, a rare and courageous choice for anybody in the industry. For many listeners, and not just myself, Black Swan isn't just something you hear, it's something you feel deeply, uncomfortably, and most importantly, honestly. And now to my bias, my favorite BTS song of all time. Not most important, not most artistic, my favorite. And it just so happens to be number 2 on our artistic list. Everybody knows on this channel I've been reacting. Save Me is one of my favorite songs ever of any genre, any rap, pop, K-pop, anything you want to put. BTS Save Me is in my top 5 songs all time. It's one of my favorite songs, and it's the song that actually made me really, really believe in BTS and what they had going on. Save Me is one of BTS's most emotionally raw and quietly devastating songs. Unlike grand symbolic epics like Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Save Me strips everything down. No lavish sets, no dramatic pops, no complex storyline. Instead, it focuses on emotional isolation, desperation, and the human need to be understood. This song doesn't shout its pain, it whispers it repeatedly until the listener feels the weight. This release during the most beautiful moment in life era, Save Me represents the emotional midpoint of BTS's youth narrative, the moment when optimism fades and survival became the goal. At its core, Save Me is a plea. The lyrics are simple, repetitive, and almost childlike. Save me, and that repetition is intentional. When someone is truly drowning emotionally, they don't speak in poetry. They repeat the same thought over and over, hoping someone hears it. This song explores emotional isolation, fear of abandonment, dependency on survival, the desperation to be seen and understood. This isn't romanticized sadness, it's raw need for help. This song does not specify who is being asked for help. That ambiguity allows the savior to represent a lover, a friend, a fan, music itself, or even a listener. This universally is why Save Me resonates so deeply. Anyone who has ever felt alone can project themselves into it. Within the most beautiful moment in life narrative, Save Me represents the phase after hope but before collapse. Earlier songs focused on dream, friendship, youthful rebellion. Save Me arrives when those dreams start to crack. The world becomes overwhelming. Expectations rise. The safety net disappears. It's the moment where youth realizes love and passion alone are not enough to survive. Musically, Save Me blends tropical house influences with melodic melodies, a contrast that mirrors emotional confusion. The key musical traits are kind of bright instrumental layers masking dark emotions, repetitive structures reflecting obsessive thoughts, soft but urgent vocal delivery, a beat that moves forward even when the lyrics feel stuck. The instrumental feels like a movement without direction, running but not escaping. Vocally, BTS avoids dramatic belting. Instead, they deliver lines with controlled restraint, as if holding back tears rather than releasing them. This pain makes you feel it even more. One of the most iconic aspects of Save Me is its one-take music video. There are no visible cuts, no scene changes, no escape. This artistic decision is crucial. What the one-take symbolizes is inescapable emotion loops, continuous suffering without relief, the inability to pause or reset, loneliness that follows you everywhere. The camera moves, but the emotional state does not change, mirroring depression and anxiety. The music video takes place in vast, empty landscapes, open sky, barren land, and no shelter. The setting symbolizes emotional exposure, vulnerability, feeling small in a massive world. There's nowhere to hide, no walls, no warmth. Even though BTS is together physically, the emptiness around them emphasizes internal loneliness. The choreography in Save Me is restrained, repetitive, and emotionally heavy. Key parts in this are movements that reach outward then pull back, body tension rather than explosive power, repetitive formations symbolizing emotional cycles, subtle gestures that suggest pleading. Rather than dominating space, the choreography feels like it's fighting in the air, struggling to breathe emotionally. The dance doesn't seek attention, it seeks relief. Unlike performance-focused BTS tracks, Save Me relies heavily on facial micro-expressions, exhaustion, quiet panic, emotional numbness, moments of hope that had disappeared quickly. The members aren't performing for the camera, they feel trapped within it. This makes the music video deeply uncomfortable in the best way possible. The repeated "Please Save Me" is the emotional spine of the song. Repetition here symbolizes obsessive thoughts, emotional paralysis, inability to articulate deeper feelings. It reflects real mental states when pain becomes so heavy that the language collapses into a single request. While Save Me was not BTS's loudest hit, it was one of their most impactful. Commercial and cultural impact was very strong. A nice digital chart performance in Korea globally, high streaming longevity, massive traction in international fandom spaces, one of the most referenced BTS songs in mental health discussions ever. It became a fan favorite rather than a radio hit, a song people return to and not just play once. As far as reaction channels, people like me fell in love with it. Other people I showed it to fell in love with it also, but it's not one of those dynamites. It's not one of those butters. It's not one of those songs that just touch the world because everyone just is happy and wants to feel good. This is a song that makes you think. It makes you dream. It makes you feel something on the inside that some people are scared to touch. Fans constantly describe feeling seen, feeling understood, feeling less alone. Many armies credit Save Me as a song that emotionally connected them to BTS on a personal level, myself included. Save Me doesn't age because its subject doesn't age. Loneliness, fear, the need for connection, these are permanent human experiences that you can't get rid of. The song doesn't offer solution, it offers companionship in pain. Later, BTS will release I'm Fine, often seen as Save Me counterpart. Together they represent pain and healing, dependence to self-rescue, desperation to stability, but without Save Me, I'm Fine would feel hollow and non-existence. Finally, Save Me teaches you something rare in pop music today. Asking for help is not a weakness, it's survival. This song doesn't glorify pain, it acknowledges it honestly. And sometimes that honesty is what saves lives. That's why Save Me isn't just a BTS song, it's a lifeline for all people. Okay, blood, sweat, and tears. I'll be the first to admit on this video also that when I first heard this song, I didn't think that much of it on the first listen. I enjoyed it, but to me, I thought at the time it was lacking something, mainly because I wasn't into BTS like that, and I didn't truly understand their art or what they were about. I kind of just listened to the sound and was listening musically and was kind of like, it doesn't do it all the way for me as far as like a global hit. Boy, was I wrong. Blood, Sweat, and Tears is widely considered one of the most important songs in BTS's entire career, not just musically, but philosophically and culturally. Released during the Wings era, this track marked the moment BTS transitioned from a successful idol group into a concept-driven artist with global literary ambition. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a declaration of artistic depth. With Blood, Sweat, and Tears, BTS introduced themes of temptation, sacrifice, loss of innocence, desire, and the cost of growth, concepts rarely explored with such seriousness in K-pop music, let alone pop music in general. At its core, Blood, Sweat, and Tears is about giving everything to desire, even when that desire is dangerous. The title itself is symbolic. Blood represents pain and sacrifice. Sweat represents effort and labor. Tears represent emotional loss. Together they symbolize total devotion, the act of giving one's entire self, body, mind, and soul to something irresistible. Lyrically, the song explores temptation that feels inevitable, desire that overrides logic, the willingness to fail or fall, even when you know the consequences. The lyrics blur the line between love, ambition, and corruption. It's the temptation of a person, fame, power, art, or identity. The song intentionally leaves that open, making it universally relatable. One of the most important themes is the loss of innocence. BTS doesn't portray temptation as evil, they portray it as necessary for growth, even if it leads to pain. Blood, Sweat, and Tears has many philosophical and literary influences. It's heavily inspired by, excuse me if I get the name wrong, Hermann Hesse's Dominion, a novel centered on self-discovery and duality, breaking free from moral binaries. Ideas borrowed from that theme are good and evil coexist within the self, growth requires pain, innocence must be sacrificed for self-awareness, true identify emerges through temptation and suffering. This literary foundation elevates the song beyond pop. It becomes a philosophical narrative. Musically, Blood, Sweat, and Tears blends a lot of different sounds. Tropical house influences, dark sensual melodies. The beat feels hypnotic, seductive rather than aggressive. The mirrors the lyrical theme, temptation isn't loud or violent, it's smooth and inviting. Vocally, it's delivered controlled, emotional, and restrained. There's tension between softness and desperation. Harmonies feel lush yet easy. Nothing is really oversung. The emotions simmer through rather than explode, reinforcing the idea of falling slowly into temptation. The Blood, Sweat, and Tears music video is a symbolic masterpiece. It's one of the most analyzed music videos in K-pop history, really pop history, and for good reason. Overall, the visual tone is very, very difficult. Renaissance art aesthetics, music-like settings, classical sculptures and paintings, lighting and architecture. The music video immediately separates itself from traditional idol visuals. This isn't a performance space, it's a symbolic gallery of temptation and a downfall. From the museum setting, to statued and broken innocence, to the blindfold scenes, to the apple scene, the fall, Jinn and the angel statue, mirrors. I could go on and on for days about the different philosophical meanings within those. For example, just to name a few, Jinn and the angel statue. The angel represents moral guidance, the innocence, spiritual protection. The mirrors reflect duality, the self versus the shadow self. They suggest self-awareness, confrontation, and identify fracture. The fall, repeated imagery of falling represents surrender, not being pushed, but choosing to fall. This is crucial. BTS portrays temptation as voluntary, not forced. The apple is a direct biblical reference to forbidden knowledge and the temptation of Adam and Eve. But by repeatedly showing the apple, BTS frames desire as something that awakens awareness, but at a cost. The blindfolds symbolize willful ignorance, choosing not to see consequences in order to indulge in desire. The mirrors, the lyrics, knowing something is dangerous but wanting it anyway. The statues and broken innocence. The statues appear throughout the music video representing perfection and idealized innocence. Cracks, blindfolds, and fragmented imagery suggest that the perfection is fragile and inevitably broken. And last but not least, the museum setting. The museum represents human knowledge, history, and morality. A place where ideals are preserved and studied, not lived. BTS moving through this space symbolizes stepping beyond safety and tradition. The choreography for Blood, Sweat, and Tears is intentionally sensual and fluid, unlike BTS's earlier aggressive hip-hop styles. It's controlled body lines, slow deliberate movements, touch-based formations, emphasis on vulnerability. The dance communicates temptation physically. It's not about power, it's about surrender. Blood, Sweat, and Tears was a massive global success and a turning point for BTS. #1 on Korean charts, broke YouTube view records at the time, charted internationally across Asia, Europe, and the Americas, massive digital sales and streaming numbers, but more importantly, it elevated BTS's critical reputation. Critics, academics, and global audiences began discussing BTS not as just pop stars, but as true global artists. Reaction channels exploded with analysts of videos dissecting it, from the symbolisms to literary references to choreography meaning. Blood, Sweat, and Tears became a gateway song for non-K-pop fans, art, literature, and enthusiasts, music critics. Even years later, it remains one of the most referenced BTS eras. Why Blood, Sweat, and Tears is a masterpiece is because the song works in a variety of ways. It embraces ambiguity, balances pop accessibility with deep meaning. It doesn't give answers, it asks questions. And last but not least, Blood, Sweat, and Tears is the ultimate music video and song because it's painful and confusing and intoxicating in the process of growing into oneself. It reminds us that growth isn't clean, desire isn't simple, and innocence isn't permanent. With that being said, Blood, Sweat, and Tears is one of BTS's most important tracks, one of its most needed tracks, and one of its most artistic tracks ever. 3 videos and music of artistic side of BTS that we chose. Obviously, #3 we had Blood, Sweat, and Tears. #2 we had Save Me. #1 we had Black Swan. We felt like those were the ones. Me personally, just a little quick relapse on what I said. Like basically, you can put these in any order you want. And for me, I know a lot of people don't have Save Me up there, but for me, Save Me is just very, very important. And it represents a time in your life where you do reach out to people and you do want someone to save you and you do want people to hear you. That's why that song hits so hard for me. Blood, Sweat, and Tears, I could understand why that would probably be the favorite for some people. But again, on the artistic side, it could go either way with Black Swan. But again, it's all about what you feel individually and what you feel emotionally. Everything on the internet is opinions. This reaction channel is an opinion. My story is an opinion. Your thoughts are opinions. Everyone has the right to interpret things the way they want to interpret it. So you guys tell me in the comments, where do you rank these 3 songs? How do you put them at 1, 2, 3? What are some experiences with you? What does BTS songs put in your life to make you adapt to these songs more? Let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do these songs give you a theatrical vibe? Do you feel like they're musical Broadway? Or do you feel like this is all just overhyped and a waste of time, like it's not that deep? Because I feel like it's that deep, and I don't feel like it's a waste of time. But I could be wrong. You guys let me know in the comments and tell me how you feel, and tell me what you think about it. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your opinions. And like I said, we're a couple days away from January 8th. I'm excited. Just the 4th today. We got 4 more days, and we had a year reacted, and I can't wait, man. I've been grinding a whole year on this channel. We went through so many people, so many trials, so many tribulations, but yet we still here, and we still grinding, and we still doing it. And I couldn't do it without you. And I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being here on this countdown. So let me know what you think in the comments, man. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Always with love. Peace.